Today I want to talk to you about the 5 major differences between copywriting and content writing, because I get this question all the time. People are always asking me about the difference between the two and how do you know if one is copywriting or one is content writing. And also, coming at it from a standpoint of like potentially being one yourself. How do you know, should I be a copywriter? Should I be a content writer? And what is the difference between the two as is a job or a career for someone? So let's talk about that. First things first is the difference between the two largely lays in its purpose or intent. So the purpose of copywriting is persuasive and to get someone to act, while the purpose of content writing is more to inform. You'll often see when you look up the answer to this question online that some people will say content writing is to educate or to entertain or to inform. But copywriting also does those things too. So I can understand why people get confused by the answers that they find online and trying to differentiate between the two. And the reason that is a little bit confusing is because some copy could be considered content. You know what I mean? Like if you're writing a blog that is based in persuasion and intends to get somebody to sign up for an email list, and it really has a strong CTA, and it is, considered copywriting because of the way it is written. If somebody else calls it content, it's not wrong. But yes, I just want you to really understand that the big difference between the two is in the intent and in the purpose. So if you are reading it and you can say, oh, this person really wants me to purchase something, sign up for an email list, download something, join a Facebook group, leave a comment, sign up for a consultation, make a phone call, donate something, if that is really obvious to you, then it is copy, generally. The other thing that differentiates them is copywriting uses psychology and techniques and so it's really important for copywriters to study psychology and to understand how the brain works, which is one of the things I love about copywriting, because it's basically learning how to become a more effective communicator, more persuasive. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be used in an unethical or sleazy way, which is something I definitely thought when I first started out. The next major difference, I think, and you can use this as a way to kind of figure out which one's which, is that copywriting tends to solve problems, usually by pointing them in the direction of a product or a service. It can also solve problems by starting you out down a sales funnel, like maybe getting you to sign up for an ebook or a piece of content, to opt into an email list, to solve a problem that you're having. Content generally is answering questions. So, when you're looking up why do I feel hungry right after I eat or something like that, and then you find some WebMD article that answers that question. That was a really, really weird off the top of my head question. So those are also, that's another way to kind of tell the difference between the two. And then as it relates to you and whether or not you want to become a copywriter or a content writer, the major difference is the skill set. So if you are going to become a copywriter, you've got to study psychology, persuasion, and, techniques that influence people. And honestly, I think that's a lot more fun than just writing to be purely informative. And again, I want to push back against the idea that knowing those things means that, you're writing something that's sleazy or wrong or unethical, because it's not true. You can decide when to use those tools, how to use them, and if it's really going to improve someone's life and you're more convincing and can show them how, it's a really good way to use that skill set. It took me a long time to get to this place. I really just have to say that if you have any reservations in that regard and you're choosing content writing because it feels safer, I get it. But the thing is we really do love to be sold to. Think of a product or service that you've purchased that you were like, I am so glad I bought this, and all the copy that led up to you actually making that purchase. I know I have things like that in my life, so just keep that in mind. So the skill set is different because as a copywriter, there's more studying outside of just writing purely informative pieces, there's psychology. And I think the thing that holds people back from becoming copywriters and, stay in this more safe content writer area is just the fear of having to learn those skill sets, the fear of, knowing how will I know when I'm good at them. And also just the fear of being a salesperson. But really, if, take the time to really look into it, because I think that you'll find that it can be done well. It's just about aligning yourself with businesses you believe in, really, truly. Finally, you can earn more as a copywriter, and that is something that I think is really important. So don't let that fear hold you back. You can learn copywriting. You can learn different techniques and strategies that will help make your writing more effective, more influential. And once you start to learn copywriting, you'll see it everywhere, like absolutely everywhere. When people, make a speech, I'll notice, oh, wow, that was a little reciprocity. That was, urgency, things like that. So I also want to take a second to address some common misconceptions that kind of occur when people are talking about the difference between copy and copywriting. Again, kind of already touched on this, but the main one is that copywriting is overly salesy or slimy. You can totally choose not to go that route. In fact, consumers are smarter than ever. They don't want super old school salesy tactics in their face. They just don't work like they used to. And so, you gotta learn that you can write and be very persuasive using empathy and connection and authenticity, and consumers like it more. I'm really, really glad to be a copywriter right now. The next one is that you can decide whether or not it's copy or content based on the type. And that's actually confusing, I think. I think that's one of the reasons people are so confused about this question. You'll often see people saying that blogs or social media posts or even white papers are content, when that's not necessarily true, because it has so much more to do with the intent. So I have seen some incredible social media posts that are absolutely copywritten. They're very persuasive, emotionally based, and beautifully written, and have a strong CTA that can lead into either at the start of a funnel or even a purchase, or getting on with a consultation, a referral fee, or entering into the referral program. It you cannot look at a type and just black and white say this is copy or this is content. So it's much more nuanced than that. And that is something I feel like I've been trying to explain for a little bit, but there's a lot of misinformation about this online. The third misconception I really want to address is that content is long and copy is short. That is absolutely not true. And the reason is well, first of all, in my experience, long copy in a lot of instances actually performs better than short copy. And again, a big misconception is I've had so many clients say this is too long, we need to shorten it up. People don't read that much, but when they're going to make a purchase, they do, especially if it's a large purchase, right? So saying that content is long and that copy is short is not true. And that's really misleading and confusing. So there's a lot of things online about this, and I really wanted to address the things that were confusing about them, and I can totally understand why somebody might be confused by them. Knowing all of this, if you are reading something and you're saying, okay, asking yourself, is this copy or content, and you can't really tell, it's probably content. Because copy should be very clear in what they want you to do. So if there is no action written into it, then it is content. So I hope that helps, because I know it can be kind of confusing, especially I often have people ask me, hey, can you, share with me an example of copy? And really, truly, most websites, not all of them, but most websites, a lot of blogs, most emails. I'm going to get in trouble with using the word most here because it's not all of them, but usually if they're trying to get you to do something, it's considered copy. Doesn't mean it's necessarily good copy, but anyway, I hope that clears things up. The other thing is if you're sitting there struggling with like, why is this copy or is this copy or is this content? You're going back and forth. Like, what is it that you're so hung up about this about? Like, is it because you're afraid to go the route of copywriting? Because I really want to encourage you that you can learn the techniques and the skill set to become a copywriter. And yeah, that has been my experience in working with lots of people. So don't let the idea of psychology being included in it intimidate you, because I suspect that you innately understand a lot of the copywriting techniques. So don't let the fear hold you back. That's my wrap up message for the day. Anyway, I hope this really helped. Leave some comments if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them. And go ahead and hit that thumbs up button if you like this. And of course, you know the drill. Hit that subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.